Oh, I have an idea. I think we in our commercials, we have left a lot on the table.
Okay.
We have Nate dressing up as a leprechaun.
Mm-hmm.
We have Nate dressing up as a unicorn.
There's a trend here, Nate.
There is a
dressing
trend. I think we need to light him on fire.
I think that this is an HR nightmare.
I don't think so. I think in today's vast and advanced world, I think we can put him out really fast, and he would.
I guess the question is, do we let him know that's what the script is ahead of time? And what do you think his answer would be to do
I don't
this?
think. No, I don't think we tell him.
Just light him on fire.
Yeah, I think we just light him on fire, and hopefully he makes it. No, I'm kidding you, but I think that would be memorable because everything
be
about
memorable.
marketing is memorable. You have to be memorable.
Speaking of memorable and iconic,
Apparently
ads.
they don't like my ideas.
We're just going to go right past that. But talking about iconic and memorable ads, that's what we're going to talk about today with our guest, Lisa.
Hey everyone, it's Skip Renke,
And I'm Opperman.
and this is the Main Street Marketing Podcast.
A podcast where we discuss everything and anything related to marketing.
And today our very special guest is Lisa Raebel. She's the owner, creator, author, speaker. She's the owner of Rebel Girl Marketing. She's the one, the only Lisa Raebel.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming today. We were talking about, before we jumped on here, we were talking about commercials and what makes marketing and marketing in general, what makes everything memorable.
Yeah.
And Lisa and I were talking one time when we were down here doing something else. We were talking about all the commercials and stuff, or we were talking just about different things. And so we decided we were going to sit down and we're going to talk about our favorite commercials. And Emma, I know you've got one too. You were talking about too. But we've talked about the commercials that from the past that we remember the most.
Yeah.
Staying power.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite commercials, which you actually had, was the Betty White commercial.
Oh my God, the Snickers commercial?
Yes.
Oh my God. I would love to know how they filmed that, like when she actually came out of there. Anyway, so if you don't remember this commercial, it's the Snickers commercial where the guys are playing like touch football or tackle football in the field, and Betty White is a character running through it, and obviously she's running slow and she doesn't catch the ball and she gets tackled to the ground. And
What is it? You're not yourself without a Snickers.
yeah. And so they're like, you're playing like Betty White out there. And so the girlfriend gives him a Snickers, like, and then he turns into himself. And it's just so funny because Betty White is like classic.
She's the queen.
She is the queen.
I mean, anything she touched was gold.
Yes.
You know,
the girls.
Oh yeah, from that and any commercial she was ever in.
Well, I always wonder when there's commercials like that, how much it costs to produce that, to get those people in those commercials.
Yeah. It's like, technically it's a cameo because she's only in there literally for seconds.
Yeah, she's not there long.
Yeah. So.
But it's an all-day shoot, guaranteed.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
You know, if not a 2-day, but still, I mean, anything. But she was and really, if you think about it, you really saw her more towards the end of her life. You know, I mean, she was always in something with Golden Girls and things, but like commercials, and she was really picked up a lot of steam in the last 20 years of her life.
And she was really in her prime, in the 60s. It was like she was on the game shows, like the Squares.
Oh, that's right.
Hollywood Squares, and then she was also that other game show.
Password.
Password. Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about Password.
That's actually how she met her husband.
Really?
Yeah,
Wasn't he the host?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Anyway.
I remember that now.
This
Okay.
is Betty White.
This
podcast.
is not this is not the Betty White, roast. But when I think about staying power, I mean, one of the commercials that has always stuck with me was the Kmart commercials, and some people never saw them, but the one for Kmart where they said that they could ship their pants.
Oh yeah. I mean, that play on words is classic.
It was awesome. I can ship my pants. I can ship my pants. Hey, you can ship your pants. And then the old man goes, I can ship my pants right here. And he goes, very convenient.
You can also ship your bed.
Kid. Yeah, ship the bed.
Oh yeah, I just shipped my bed. And then they played on that with the big gas.
Yes.
Yes, I got some big gas problems.
Yeah.
Oh, look at the big gas man. Hi, big gas man. But if you think about it, that was from my perspective, from a marketing perspective, it's brilliant.
It is.
Because first off, the creativity to put that together.
Yeah.
I mean, we talk about the commercials we do. I mean, it takes time to create it. Can you imagine putting that together? But I mean, just to come up with all that,
Well, and then for me, if I was like one of the people acting, I would be giggling, like, just kind of like the play on words, the big ass and the
How would you get through
shit
it?
your pants. And
There's no way I could get through
Well,
it.
I just wonder, like, how it worked convincing whoever was in charge that, like, that was going to work and that's what they should do. Like, was everybody all in? Or was
like the
it...
came out,
Yeah,
the came
like-
out power of the C-suite.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
That's a very good question.
I never even thought about that. But then to convince the people to do it again because they did the first one.
Had to have
Well,
been
I bet you it would
successful.
have been a lot easier to convince them to do the second
Well,
one.
the success of it was massive. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I can see them saying, oh, we did that. Let's do something else. Yeah, absolutely.
And well, a lot of commercials, or a lot of companies have really successful commercials, and they go back and they do them again, and they have different renditions of them. So that one sticks with me, and I just remember Kmart. Now, there's not that many Kmart's around anymore,
there aren't
unfortunately.
anymore,
but I do remember that commercial, and that one has always stuck with me. So, what about you? What's another one you really liked?
Oh, I really like, okay. The Snickers ones is obviously one of my favorite ones, but like so like Geico's like Mike, what day is it? Kind of like hump day. Like I actually thought that was Budweiser for a while just because it was so funny, but like and that's part of the problem of memorable is that you don't always remember the brand that is attached
True.
to the actual ad. Like the
Right.
hump day, like the camel walking around the business center, but oh my god, that's so funny. For the longest time I actually thought that was a beer commercial.
Well, that's funny because I think my favorite commercial, is also Geico, but I'm really not sure. It's the one right now where it's like, I have an ant problem, but not
Oh.
like the bug, like AUNT, and there's ants cooking
That's
in the
either
kitchen.
Geico or Progressive. I
Yeah.
think it's one of those.
Oh, that might be.
yeah.
I don't know. So
Right,
see, well, there it is.
But
There
there's
it
a
is.
problem, right?
Because it's funny, but it's also not completely related to what they do.
So that brings me back to the Snickers commercial. So like the other one that I really love of Snickers is the guy that gets a concussion during the football game. And they're like, "Are you okay? Like, what's your name?" "Oh, very funny." Like he's like, "Oh, where are you?" "Very funny, coach. I'm at the football game." Like, "What's your name?" And he goes, "I'm Batman."
Oh yeah.
And the thing is that what's relatable to that is that it ties the actual brand into them recovering from whatever it is that they're doing. Like, sometimes you're not yourself, you need a Snickers,
Right.
That kind of a thing. So like that ties the brand into the memorable aspect of
Yeah.
the funny commercial.
Yeah. Right.
But again, how many commercials do we remember? We don't remember the brand though.
Yeah, it was like for the was it was up? That instantaneously after that commercial, that was a catchphrase everywhere.
Oh yeah. So it's
What was
great
that
taste.
for?
Less
That was a
sugar.
Super Bowl commercial, and that was for Budweiser, Butter Bud Light. Well, there it is, Butter Bud Light. Didn't even
Beer.
matter. But at that point in time, you could ask that was aired on the Super Bowl if I remember correctly.
Yep.
And then the next day, everybody was doing it, but nobody remembered who it was for.
Yeah.
They're
People
all
like,
just-
"How's it going? What's up? What's up?"
What's up? And
Everybody
that's
doing
all
that,
the people did. And you're like, oh, it got to be really old, really fast.
Yeah, it did.
But people remembered. Then they kept stacking more and more commercials on top of it. And then it just completely fizzled. But nobody knew who it was for.
Yeah. Well,
I thought it was actually for light beer, actually.
It might have been, but they're all men, so I'm assuming that's not light beer. Moving on.
True.
But
True that.
so like it's the whole taste great, less filling. That went on for the longest time.
That was light beer.
That's Miller Lite.
Yeah, right. Oh,
But-
yeah, right.
So it's taste great, less filling. That still relates back to the product, so it's a little bit more memorable than the commercials that we love.
Yeah, they played on that for a long time. That was years and years they played on that.
Well, in college, we were down in New Orleans for a American Marketing Association. Like we were up for the award, which Whitewater won, by the way.
Yay.
And we got like 1,100 college kids to do like taste great, less filling. Like our president got up on a table and basically started this whole, because we were like waiting for something, and
Oh.
yeah, and so it was really fun because it's like everybody knew what it was, and
Yeah.
it was
That'd
kinda
have been a
fun.
good video. Was that on video?
Oh, I'm sure somebody has a video of it someplace, but that was a few decades ago.
10, maybe 15 years ago. But there's other commercials that people aired or somebody did that weren't necessarily always about products. They were about events. And one of the
I
ones
know
that
when you're thinking.
9/11 with the Budweiser commercial, it aired one time.
I get goosebumps even right now thinking about it.
it aired. I take that back. It did air another time. I wanted to say
Well,
it was
it
10 years
aired
later.
right after, yeah, and then 10 years later.
Yep, 10 years later.
Yeah,
it
the
aired.
10-year anniversary.
Yeah, with the Clydesdales, and they put their
and
head
they're-
down.
Yeah, and they're bowing, like they even like the knees.
Yep.
Yeah, the front legs. Oh,
To
that was
but
so
to this
amazing.
day, that still gives me goosebumps. Because,
Literally right now, it's just
because that was such a time in our world that it was just everything was haywire, everything was going crazy. Not like any other time.
Wasn't it really controversial that they did that? Like, a lot of people respected that, but some people viewed that as, even though they weren't really promoting their brand, you knew what brand it was.
Yeah, it did have a little bit of a controversy. People took it to a level of making it controversial where it really wasn't.
Right, because there was no brand. Like, it didn't end with the logo. There was no branding on it. But you knew because they've built their brand to what it is.
yeah, exactly.
But I think they were just honoring.
But it goes to show you that even when you're trying to do the right thing and honor things and do it like without having a ton of promotion, you're not going to reach everybody. You're going to irritate somebody. Literally every commercial you do, somebody's going to be irritated.
Yeah.
And the great thing about that is that you know who your audience isn't.
True.
That's a good point. I mean, you will pull that out of there pretty fast.
Yeah. Oh, that really irritated me. Then don't buy it. Like,
Yeah.
I want the people who understand and respect the commercial and what it's meant to be. That's my audience.
That's true.
If you don't like it, I'm okay with that.
And I was never a big Budweiser person or anything. I was always a Miller Lite guy or Miller guy in here, but I personally gained a lot of respect for him for doing it. I thought it was really cool.
It was very classy.
I mean, I thought it was a really, especially at that point in time, 1 year. Yeah, it was. I thought it was pretty.
Well,
awesome.
and the thing that made it classy was the fact that they did it once. They didn't air it over and over and over.
Yeah.
And wasn't
over
it?
and
It was.
over.
Wasn't it like the Super Bowl? Their
Yes.
Super Bowl ad after 9/11.
Yep,
Right?
it was their Super Bowl ad, and they did it like it was just one time. I thought it was great, but again, not everybody thought it was a good one, you know.
And that's okay. And I think that's the whole point of knowing your audience.
Well, and that's right, exactly. But that one was just for everybody.
Yeah.
And that was just I never saw the controversial side of it. But like you say,
Can't make everybody happy.
you cannot make everybody happy. That is for sure. What's another one you like?
Oh gosh. I'm trying to remember all the ones I sent you.
Oh, your Tootsie Pop.
Oh. See, okay, but they've aired that recently.
That just came back.
Yeah, so has the Coca-Cola. That's the other one. The Coke, I'd like to buy a world of Coke. I'd like to buy the
Oh, the music one.
Yeah, and so like that's come back on.
I haven't
the
seen
Tootsie
that.
Pop one has come back on, and even they didn't even clean it up to be like more digitally acceptable. It's
They
still
kept
in
the
that
original.
grainy.
Really?
It's still in that grainy kind of like old 1980s, 1970s kind of a thing. But again, the staying power, because what I love about that is that it triggers an emotion and a memory in us at any age, any boomer or Gen X or whatever that we kind of grew up on those brands and those commercials. It triggers it. Like I haven't had a Tootsie Roll, Tootsie Pop in decades, but I'm like, oh, that sounds good right now. You know, because it triggered a core memory of childhood.
Funny. So this weekend, I was at the family cabin and someone had a bowl of candy and there was a Tootsie Pop and I grabbed it and that was the first thing someone said to me. Oh, how many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop?
That's right.
Power.
Right. So yeah,
Did you ever try?
No.
we had a science experiment in 7th grade.
You did?
Yeah, when we were learning, I don't know, science wasn't my thing. The scientific process or something. It was
Yeah.
one of our experiments we did.
Do you
Couldn't
remember?
tell you how
Oh, I was
many
gonna
it
say.
was, but yeah, I remember sitting there. One.
Oh my!
I don't think I can count that high. I do marketing. I don't do math.
No. They said there'd be no math. Yeah, no, but when I was at church this past weekend, they had a cup full of Tootsie Roll Tootsie Pops on the table, and that's the first thing I thought of is 1, 2, a 3. A 3. You know, and but I remember that commercial.
Mr. Owl.
That's right. I forgot. But one of the when you talk about old commercials, though, one of the biggest commercials that I remember when I was a kid, and I sent it to you, I think I sent it to both of you guys, was Rock'em Sock'em Robots.
Oh yeah, we had that.
I had that. It was like my favorite thing. And you had to press the buttons, press them really hard, and they would sit there and they'd fight. But I remember that commercial because it's all I wanted for Christmas.
Oh, my mom
And
got it so my
watched
brother and I would stop
watched it
fighting.
all the time.
Just like Rock'em Sock'em Robot.
Oh yeah, I never really but we played with my friends. We would take it to we'd bring it to school when you could. But that commercial stuck in my head, and even after I got it, I remember those two kids on the stairs.
Oh yeah.
Targeted right at you.
It was. But I mean, I literally went to my mom and dad, and every time, Mom, see, that's what I want. That's what I want.
Yeah.
And I didn't get it that year for Christmas.
Oh.
Sad.
It was sad. I got it for my birthday the following year, though, so that was okay.
A glimpse into the life of Skip.
Yeah, well, violence. No, I'm just kidding. That's all I think about is Rock'em Sock'em Robots. But the other commercial that I remember when as a kid was Who Shot JR?
Oh God, I was such
that
a
was
fan
everywhere.
Of all of that. Yeah, that was the soap opera.
Falcon
of my time.
Crest and all the other ones because it was Friday Night Dukes of Hazzard. But beyond that commercial was everywhere.
Everywhere.
It was the topic. It was on every newspaper. It was on every tabloid newspaper. It aired like every other commercial.
Yeah, because what happens is that like at the end of a season they have a cliffhanger, and then unlike today where you can stream everything,
right?
You had to wait an entire summer, like 3-4 months until the season started again. So they kept the audience intrigued by airing these Who Shot JR commercials. So you didn't know until like the next season, like 4 months later. Because a lot of times you would start something and like, well, 4 months has gone by. There's no such thing as really reruns and things like that.
Yeah.
And there was no streaming. There's no nothing. God, I'm old. And so you literally had to wait till the next season. Like right now, Paul and my husband and I are binging The West Wing, and it's always like whenever they have a break. There's like that would be a commercial break. I'm like, oh, I'm so glad there's no commercials in binging. But at the same time, like there'd be a cliffhanger, and you had to wait 4 months until like the season started again. And so that's what all of these commercials were really about for the Who Shot.
Yeah, I get really a little sidetracked here, but because now when you stream things and I don't pay for the accounts where I get no ads, so of course I get ads. And then where they put the commercials, because the TV shows aren't made for commercial breaks anymore, it just like goes right in the middle of a sentence.
Yeah.
Then I get even more irritated. Not the fault of the people running the commercials, but it makes me irritated.
There could have been a better time.
I've never noticed it.
Now I'm not going to be able to unsee that now.
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna really watch that.
Yeah, because then you watch shows that aired on TV, and then sometimes the commercial breaks do line up to where they used to. But yeah, a lot of like the made for Netflix or whatever, they're not meant to have that. But if that's what you pay for.
Right.
The ads don't really fit in the right places.
Especially if you stream it on YouTube. It's on YouTube and it's got all the commercials in it.
It was really good.
Oh, well, I don't really get to watch anything besides like the Great American channels or anything like where they have Christmas 365 days a year. So they break. We watch it every single day. It's on in our house. But I never really noticed. But I did notice that. But I'm gonna keep an eye on that. That's interesting. All right.
Well, speaking of Christmas.
Uh-oh.
Hallmark.
Oh yeah.
I love all Hallmark commercials. Because they sell, well, now it's what, $12 card or a $10 card. I don't even know what. But like before, it was like a $2, $3 card. Mm-hmm. They spend millions of dollars on ads. It's a $5 billion company. And if you're standing there next to another brand and a Hallmark, I'm just going to go to Hallmark because it has that emotional pull for me. Mm-hmm. And I think it's brilliant branding, quite honestly. And it's not a Hallmark commercial. It's actually a commercial in Europe. But it's one that I really remember about cards is that, like, this old man, like, the kids didn't come home for Christmas. And so he sent out a card saying that basically he was dead and to all the kids and to meet at a certain time at the house. And so, like, they show up and he's there and he made a big Christmas dinner and stuff like that. And everybody's happy that he's alive, but it was like, it's a card commercial.
The emotion behind
It's the emotion behind it, right? Like,
but it was the unexpected as well, because that's the unexpected. Yeah, I forgot about Hallmark commercials.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I didn't.
Well, you might not be their target audience.
I give out cards.
Who buys those? You or Kathy?
Going on. No, I mean I do buy cards. I mean I buy one a year.
Mother's Day, Christmas, birthday,
anniversary. No, not even anniversary. If I get her an anniversary card, she says, "Never mind."
Yeah.
This is gonna air. No, I'm kidding you.
So it's interesting because I was literally having a conversation not that long ago with it was like a bunch of my husband's friends and their wives and things like that. And we were talking about marketing. But they were asking what I did. And I was talking about marketing. He's like, okay, then he goes, answer me this. He goes, I see Ferraris all over the place, like Lake Country or whatever. Mm-hmm. And he goes, but I never see them in an advertisement for Ferraris. And I go, okay. I go, are you going to buy one? He goes, well, no, I can't afford it. And I go, okay, then it's working. And he just kind of looked at me like, what are you talking about? I go, if you're not in the market for a Ferrari and you can't afford a Ferrari, then Ferrari's not going to waste their time marketing to you. Like, I don't see, like, I don't know, cigarette commercials because I don't smoke. But I'm sure they're out there someplace, but I'm not their target audience.
I think that goes back to the people not in the industry don't always realize, because they think when it used to be TV, right, and you had way less targeting.
Right.
That you used to see ads for something you weren't in the market for because there was some form of targeting, right? But not as much as now. And
Nowhere
now
near.
They can get that data and know your household income and if they want to show you that ad or not.
You hoped you got to your audience pre-19.
Yeah, it was more of a post and pray. Like, we're going to post
that
this
was
up there and hopefully it hits.
I mean, there was no data. I mean, you knew, well, you had the Nielsen, like household with Nielsen, but that wasn't completely accurate.
No.
Well, it had some accuracy, but not to the granular level that it is now. So when you say cigarette commercials, boy, I don't even know if there is cigarette commercials anymore.
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. I'm sure. I mean, people still buy plenty of cigarettes. I'm sure there's advertising someplace.
For
but
$12 a pack. But I mean, but in any event, I still don't, I've never seen one. You'd think there would be a billboard or something somewhere, but maybe not.
Right.
I don't know.
But the point is that, like, all of these commercials that we talked about, like, everybody got to your point of, like, because there was no targeting, there was no anything like that. But luckily today, well, luckily and unluckily, it seems a little Big Brother, but for us marketing geeks, we love it.
No, we do.
But you can pinpoint, like, where to spend that ad dollar and figure it out. I mean, like, you guys when you do your ads, they're always funny and they're memorable. They're not like, we're wonderful and we can do this and you had better buy from us or you're stupid. Like, I've seen some commercials marketing agencies do. I'm not going to name them.
Right.
But it's always, like, funny and fun. And I think I like them more because I know you guys. But at the same time, it's like, it's not your standard everyday commercial. And you just have some fun with it.
And people, when you talk about the memorability of it, I guess I'm saying that right. People do, when you see about, like, in the, you're out in public and somebody says, oh, I saw your commercial last night. That was funny.
Yeah.
But interesting that you say that, because this year we ran we ran a 90-second commercial on Roku for Christmas. And I was gambling with it. I'm like, it's not going to work. The frequency of that commercial in homes over Christmas was 12. And I was like, on Roku, I was like, that's amazing. But people remembered it, and we had Pastor Shockman from the church here in Oconomowoc at St. Paul's. Everybody saw him.
But so the funny thing about that commercial is, so when we made that, there were some of us that were like, that was too boring, didn't like it, right? All the young people, right? And then all the older people skipped. No, I'm just kidding. All the older people.
I know.
I'm okay.
Still alive.
I'm okay.
They loved it. And so, like, that ad was really targeted to a smaller audience than we normally target, and
true.
it worked for that audience.
It really did work for it. But the amount of that is, like, Pastor Shocking goes, you know how many people saw that? I go, yeah, I know exactly how many people saw it because I get the numbers on. He goes, everybody knew me and everybody came up to me no matter where I was. And I'm like, well, that's good. That's good. But it just goes to show you that when you talk about targeting, there really was. Mm-hmm. We did target to a specific audience for that. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't the broad brush that a lot of people do, you know.
Okay, let's go back to one of the commercials that you picked that was not for me or for Emma as far as, like, hitting on the Doritos ad that you like. That is such guy humor. I mean, like, literally, I watched those and I was like, such guy humor. This is
the Dorito cleaner where he sticks his finger through the wall and the guy on the other end licks the Doritos off. I cringed. I was like, ugh.
I just saw Nate's face. Our director, our producer over there, his face just scowled when you said that.
It is, but I'm like, that is guy humor. Like,
that is total
my
guy
husband would
humor.
find that hysterical.
I died laughing
But it
when I
had
saw
me
that.
captured because, what is it, like 10 seconds where you don't realize what's happening and it's just, right? And then you realize how his finger's getting cleaned and then I was out from there. But it did capture me at the beginning.
You stayed.
And quite honestly, if I have to be like, my mind went a little bit further than, like, what the commercial did. It's just, like, such guy humor. But I'm going to leave it at that.
So was the Slim Jim commercial then?
Yes.
The Slim Jim commercial where the the guys are trapped on the side of the road,
funny.
and an Amish guy with his horse and his buggy comes up and says, "You guys need a lift." And he says, "So what's it like when," he said, one of the guys was getting picked up says to the Amish guy, "So what is it like living in the country with no internet?" He goes, "It's fine." He says, "I just get you pictures of your mom sent through the mail."
What year was that ad?
That just kills me.
That's not that old.
That's
Right?
not.
It didn't look that old, but
It's not that old.
I just was surprised.
I want to say that's 2 years, maybe 3 years old,
Really?
maybe 2 years old.
But
it
again,
was so unexpected.
it's unexpected, and guys are going
Guy
to find
humor.
that because the Doritos and the Slim Jims, their audience is our guys.
Man,
That it was
cracked me
funny when
up.
I was looking at your videos versus what Skip sent, and I was thinking, these are Skip videos. Like, of course he picked some of these ones.
I've got a little bit of an out there imagine or
But at the
sense of
same
humor,
time, to your point, is like I was like, oh my husband would find these hysterical.
Right.
Yeah, because
but look at the audience they're going after. It goes
That's-
right back to it.
Right.
Who are you after? Who are you wanting to talk to, or who are you wanting to reach? And those are definitely reaching me.
and it goes back to the point of like we might have cringed on it, but we're going to remember it. And at the
Right.
same time, it's not going to deter us from buying the product. But at the same time, it's like, not everybody is your audience.
Right.
I'm
It's
just thinking-
that fine line, too, of, right, being funny, reaching your audience, but not offending your audience.
No, but I mean, every time you guys pick up a bag of Doritos,
Now I'm gonna
or
think
you have
of that.
or you have like what do you call with the
The cheesy fingers.
Cheetos. When you have the cheesy fingers, you're gonna think of that commercial.
I'm going to take a break from those for a little while so I forget about this.
I have done my job. If anything, you're going to remember that.
If you send me a text with a picture of you eating Doritos, I'll know exactly what you're talking about.
Or I'm going to get a text message. I just had some Doritos. I thought of you. Which is going to be awesome. Okay, we talk about the commercials that are in the past, right? Mm-hmm. So now think about the commercials in the next 10 years. Now think of all the things that are being, I'm throwing this out here because this has just popped into my head. All the stuff that's being made, like robots, assistants, like robotic guard dogs, all these things that are being created now. Mm-hmm. What do you think the marketing is going to look like in the next 10 years with some of these things? They're going to have like robotic assistants they're marketing for $50,000.
Okay, I cannot find out what movie this is, but it's Tom Cruise walking down an aisle, like walking down a corridor, and all of the walls are targeted to him as he walks, and the person behind him is a different ad talking to. It's a scene from a movie, and I cannot remember what movie that is. So like post it in the comments if you remember what movie that is.
Yeah, because I'm trying to think.
It's Tom Hanks
It wasn't
walking
Way
down,
of the Worlds, was it? War of the Worlds?
I don't remember, but
Okay.
it's so the point is that like our phones are listening to us out, right?
Yeah.
And so our targeted ads are the rebranding, which is or the remarketing, which is like you're on DSW, and all of a sudden you go on Facebook, and those same shoes that you still have in the cart on DSW now show up on
Yep.
your Facebook feed, right? So I think that's how it's going to be. Is that like somehow between facial recognition and the eye scan, all the recognitions, like marketing can literally recognize you and pinpoint that kind of marketing. That's where I see it going. That
Kind of a
movie-
run you can run but you can't hide type thing.
right?
That's kind of weird. I mean, I don't know if in my perception, they have all these. We were looking at something the other day with another member, with Ella. We were looking at robots and the robot convention, and all these robots that are being created that are in people's homes. Mm-hmm. And now obviously very affluent people are getting these. They're $100,000, $200,000 a piece, whatever. But as they evolve and they become more affordable, I think you're going to see. Get your own
I'm
personal
sorry,
robot.
but iRobot comes to mind. That
just got
freaks
one
me
of
out a
those.
little bit.
It's kind of freaky.
No. iRobot the movie with.
Oh, I thought you were talking about like the carpet cleaner. I'm
With,
like, why did that freak you out?
Will
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Smith.
Um,
You've never seen iRobot with
No,
Will Smith? Okay,
no.
this
I
is
have
on your
homework?
list this weekend.
Oh shit. Okay.
You won't get a robot after seeing this movie.
well, if you think about like my
Pretty
what you
creeped
call
out
it,
by it.
Amazon Echo, all of a sudden it'll be like I have a product you might like.
I just got that last night.
So, right, these kind of technologies, putting them in your home with robots, whatever, they're just going to start telling you what to buy, and people go for it.
You will not find one of those in my house. But a really good trick to play on your friends, though, is to take their phone when they're not watching and say something into the microphone, like, women's underwear, women's underwear, women's underwear. And all of a
And
sudden
then
they
the
start getting
ads.
like women underwear ads.
Not that you've ever done that.
Not that I've ever done that.
No.
I've heard this
I've
is what
heard my
happened.
friend did this to somebody. That's awesome. Yeah, but I had that same thing last night from our Alexa. It says, "Hey, Skip, based on a recent search over the last few months, this product's on sale." And I'm like, well, A, if I wanted it, I'd go look for it. B, get off, unplug.
Well, that's like my Apple Watch that I'm wearing. Somehow I found in the app conversations that I was recording that I didn't know it was actually recording. Like, I don't know if I accidentally pressed a button on it. I have a setting turned on. But, like, I found a conversation and it actually, like, recorded the audio clip. And I went back and played it. And it was of us talking. And I'm like, where is that being stored?
Well, now,
and why is that being recorded?
guess who else has all that conversations now, too? Yeah.
It was us talking?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
No, we don't have anything to hide.
It's gonna be, yeah. You said it was a 5,000% raise. Here.
Here's a recording.
Well, that's awesome. All right. Well,
Any other ads?
You could sit here for 10 hours and talk about all the ads. There's so many that I've had over the course of my life that I remember. Aunt Jemima commercials. I was my favorite. Syrup. I remember all the commercials from that. Lincoln Logs. All the stuff when I was a kid, to where I bought my first car.
So what I find interesting about the Aunt Jemima was that what they would do is they put the Aunt Jemima in the refrigerator, and then they would heat up the competitive one, so it was more like liquidy. So Aunt Jemima came out really, really slow, and then the other one came out really fast because it wasn't. So like the things I learned in like advertising classes and marketing and stuff like that is like this is why they have to have all the laws in there to.
I went to the same college you did. I didn't know that.
Well, that's I
went to class, Skip.
Yeah.
Touche.
Or like I took a photography, like a product photography class, and we had to do a food shoot, and like we made pancakes, but they're not edible, but that's how you had to make them look fluffy and appetizing, but they would never look like that.
Mm-mm. No, I have a friend who does like product advertising and the things that she has to do to manipulate things.
Right.
Like cookies that she basically like sprays with lacquer and all kinds of it's amazing.
That's a whole nother one.
Yeah,
that's a whole nother one to talk about.
That one, yeah.
Well, we could sit here and talk more about it, but we got some rapid fire questions.
Yeah, well, we have you. We need to pick your brain, get some advice.
It's better than a game.
Well, last time I actually got most of them right. So
you did get most of them.
I was surprised.
Yes, you did.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right. What is the worst advice you've ever gotten?
To appeal to a general audience. Like it was so generic. Like what I was doing was so generic and so bland. It didn't speak to like that whole. If you're speaking to everyone, you're speaking to no one. I don't remember which woman quoted that.
Yeah.
But that was the worst advice. Like it was too edgy or too whatever. Like it needed to be more general. Like that didn't work at all.
Mm-hmm.
What's a common myth about working in marketing?
Oh, how long it takes to do stuff. So like pulling together like a one pager or a brochure or a PowerPoint or like even writing content and stuff like that. Like, well, just write it. Yeah. You don't write it once. The first draft is never the final draft. And
right. My kid has a computer. They could whip that up for me.
Oh yeah, that's another one. Or I want to be on page 1 tomorrow.
Oh, I did
okay.
So, when I did the video about me being in New York a couple of weeks ago, like it took me a while to do that because I had to find the photos and which photos and like what music and all the things. And I literally had somebody say, "Oh, I could have done that in half an hour," and I'm like, "You have no clue." Yeah, they have no clue how that's a big myth. Like it shouldn't take as long as it takes because I think it just these ideas just pop in and they're perfect. It's not what happens at all.
Right.
And snapping your fingers and it's done.
Oh yeah.
That's the other one. No. Yeah.
It's always like because I had clients that go, "Well, how long did that take?" And I'm like, "Okay, you have no like it would have taken you twice as long as me, but at the same time, it's like this is not a 5-minute project."
Amen to that.
Yeah, how long things actually take to get it right.
That's a myth. Very good.
I like that one.
Yeah, me too.
I have no further comment on that.
Nothing to even comment on that. Just go,
What is something new that you've learned recently?
How to really utilize AI for content writing.
I knew it.
Because people always think like if you you have AI, like that does all the work for you. When that is 100% false.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
another one we can add to the
Yeah.
list. before.
That's number 2.
The prompting and then the editing and then all of that. And so it's interesting because I went to, 2 years ago now, there was a marketing conference that I went to. And 2 years ago when AI was just really starting to get popular, he's like, marketing companies who don't embrace AI are going to be left behind and they're not going to be around in 3 years.
That's right.
And I took that to heart, right? And so I don't do everything in AI, but it's really good for like, I write content. I'm just like, it just needs to be shored up a little bit. And I love using it for that. Like, it's still my content.
Right.
Oh yeah, I use it to where if I just can't get moving.
Yeah.
Like if I can't get an idea rolling, I just can't find the right idea. I will throw that. I'm like, oh,
It is
yeah.
a very good idea generator.
It
Yeah.
really does. And then the rest I take for myself. I roll with it there. But it's just
Yeah.
sometimes your brain's just like, oh.
Or yeah, like you said, needs a little polishing.
Or
Yeah.
even I've asked it, like, here's my blog, what's missing? Like, in your opinion, what's missing from this? And like, sometimes it's like, it's fine. Or sometimes it's like, you could make these 2 points as well. And like, oh, I never thought about that. So then I'll add that to my blog, but it doesn't do the work for me. It's kind of like a tool. I compare it to like one of my clients. He's like, don't tell me use AI because that they did the work. I'm like, I compare it to like, you have to dig a huge 20 by 30 foot hole to do your job. You could give your guys a shovel or you give them a backhoe, which is going to do the job faster. Like, they're still doing the work. They're still controlling the piece of equipment. That's just all this is with marketing. It's just a tool.
Yep.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I feel like
I could go on AI. I was gonna pounce on it, but I'm restraining myself.
I was gonna say I think all these questions are gonna start to blend together now. But you just have so much. I think we have a lot in common too
Yeah, we
of
do.
our opinions. But now I want to know a hill you're willing to die on.
A hill I'm willing to die on
opinion.
when it comes to marketing. I think it's the one I preach this all the time is that just people think of marketing as a task or a line item on an expense sheet, and they don't realize that it's a mindset that everything you do is marketing. Everything you do is marketing. Like how you walk into your office is internal marketing, and how you interact with your team, and how you, if you have the name of your business on the side of your vehicle, don't drive like an a-hole.
Don't get me started on this. So Skip really wants to wrap his car, and
I know.
I said you're not.
You and I have had this discussion, and we both said no. I don't even work for you, and I said no. So like, but the point is that everything you do,
Yeah.
Right.
I won't put it on my car because
You drive like a normal person.
I-
I'm kidding.
I may not drive the speed limit, but my point is that like it's marketing is a mindset. It's not a task, and I will die on that hill. Like everything you do is marketing.
So true.
Yeah.
As Skip wears his Paragon shirt
Right on.
today and
Right
every
on.
day as he goes out to church or wherever you go, right?
I always
always
have
marketing.
it on. Yeah.
What is something that you've either listened to recently, a podcast or a book that you've read that you want to share?
Right now, I'm listening to "You're a Badass at Making Money," and all of the mindset blocks about making money and the stigmatism attached to it. Like, especially as a Christian, it's the people think that money is the root of all evil. Well, that's not. The love of money is
That's the root of all.
that is the root of all. Money is
'Cause you
not.
make it a
money's
god.
tool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Simon Sinek does the same thing where he talks about marketing the money that you make as a tool to do what you want to do. And that what I loved about her book, and I have no idea who the author's name is, but what she says is that your definition of rich is your definition of rich. It's not the world's definition of rich. It's not the commercials, as we talked about ads today.
Right.
It's not their definition of rich. It's yours. How do you define it? And then the whole badass of making money is just like knowing your value.
Yeah.
So it's a great book. And
You know,
she's funny.
And I'm reading the Bible. I'm reading the whole Bible this year, and I'm a third of the way through.
Really?
Yeah. And I found that
Is it the Message Bible or the Kids Bible?
it's the picture one.
Pictures.
It's a pop-up Bible.
Sorry, I already picked anyone's face.
No, that's no, but I mean, it's got pictures, it's got little pop-up things. No, but it's interesting that, people, they make money the center. You can't serve God and you can't serve money.
Nope.
Right? So I'm on this earth to serve the Lord.
Yep.
But the Lord has umpteen blessings for me, and that could ultimately make you very wealthy.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a bad thing.
No.
But it's what you do with that money and with those blessings that you get. If it is monetary resources, do you help others? Do you tithe more? Do you donate to people? That's the misconception of it, that people think. I like that.
Yeah.
Like the way you look at that. Yeah.
All right, last question for you. We've had fun. We've covered a lot. If our listeners could take one thing away from this episode, what would you want that to be?
You're going to spend money on marketing one way or another, email campaigns or ads or whatever the case might be. First thing you need to do is, actually, there's going to be two things. First thing you need to do is find out why you need marketing in the first place. Do you need more customers? Do you need more brand awareness? Do you need to upsell to existing customers? Once you know that, then you can define who your audience is and say, this is the targeting that I want to do within digital marketing or whatever the case might be. So like the first thing would be like, ask yourself, why do I need marketing? And then once you know why you need marketing, are you trying to be a subject matter expert? Are you trying to build your speakers, or like we talked about, like your speaking engagements and things like that. Once you know why, then you can go, okay, then this is the direction. This is where I'm going to spend my marketing spend.
If you're doing it just for the sake of doing it,
Post and pray. Doesn't work.
it does not work.
No.
Awesome.
Well, we always love having you.
Always.
And we'll do it again, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So thanks for
It's
being
always
with
fun.
us.
Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you, guys.
We'll see you. Well, that was fun.
It was.
Going over all those commercials. Some of those are really good, But, I mean, what's the one thing you took away from it?
I just liked thinking about each ad and who it was targeted for, right? And how times have really changed when it's come to advertising and how you're getting that ad to people.
Yeah, I think Lisa said something in there about like post and pray or something along those lines. I mean, that's what it really was. I mean, you shot the commercial in hopes that thing was going to get to who you wanted it to get to. And you didn't have the option to just choose ages and zip codes and things like that. So it was like a completely different world. But the thing that I took away from it, though, is that but people remembering it.
Yeah.
Two things. Tying that commercial to a brand and remembering who it was.
Right.
But also, wow, there's sometimes you just remember the commercial. You don't remember the brand.
Right.
I mean, that could happen. That happened with me.
And all the memories you have tied to that commercial that help you remember that.
Yeah, and there were so many commercials that were popping up in my head. I mean, we could have sat here for hours talking about that. I mean, there's just so many great ones. But, they used to be, they were, the levels of creativity on some of those were just insane. From when I was a kid all the way up to, and I remember one right now. I mean, you guys you never know who it was, but there was an Evil Knievel. You guys know who that is?
I mean, I've heard that.
Yeah. Well, Evil Knievel, he had a wind-up motorcycle,
Okay.
and you'd hit its head and it would take off. But that was the thing, and that's what you remembered. And so your commercials that you guys see now, maybe you'll remember them somewhere later on in your life when you're old like me. But it was just really interesting to talk about that.
Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us and watching today. I'm Emma Opperman.
And I'm Skip Ranke. This is the Main Street Marketing Podcast. You can see us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get them. Just search for us out there.
You can also watch our full episodes on YouTube, and our channel is at Paragon Marketing Group.
Thanks for stopping by. See ya.